Valencia is a team which we all remember having such a great past. Valencia have won 6 Spanish League titles and have made it into 2 consecutive Champions League finals in the years 2000 and 2001. And of course we all remember them being a Champions League competing team within their league, always pushing for that top 4. However, in recent years their reputation has been absolutely destroyed. A major drop in standards meant that Valencia were left on the bottom half of the table quite often, even finding themselves now at 20th place in the Spanish league, fighting relegation with only 1 win this season. So today my job is to rebuild them, higher those expectations and begin competing again with Valencia. So we are here in charge of Valencia and I think this will be a great rebuild just because of the history this team does have. Of course, I myself was so surprised to see them so low on the league table, as they are one of the teams that I think should always be in that top 4. I remember them being in that top 4, fighting up there with the Atletico Madrids of the world, up there with, Bilbao's and all the other teams that are fighting for that top 4. They used to be there all the time, so I really do hope that we can turn Valencia into that team once again. We need to take a look at the team though to check what we do have for the season ahead, as I feel like it's not going to be looking too great, and I don't think I'm very wrong there. I mean, there's not a lot. I'm sorry to all Valencia fans watching and players if you are here for some reason. There is not a lot of talent in this team, I will be honest. We've got Georgi Marmadashvili in for one single season. One season, and then he's gone off to Liverpool as he has been signed by them in real life. So we've got him for this season only before we do have to replace him. I think he is a great goalkeeper, someone who I would have loved to keep during this rebuild, but that does not seem like it will be happening. Another player in Jose Gaya, I think it's safe to say he is a club legend now for Valencia. Been there for extremely long. For as long as I can remember, I've been seeing Jose Gaya in a Valencia shirt. I've just said Villarreal. Wrong rebuild completely. Never mind though. I would still say he's a very class left back, someone who I do hope we can keep for the rest of this rebuild. I do know that he does get a lot of interest in him very soon if he does do well, of course. A lot of teams in Saudi Arabia are going to be after him, so that will be a difficult one to keep. And a couple other players, but mainly youth prospects, I will be honest. Players like Javi Guerrera, if I've said his name right. Mosquera is another youth prospect. I mean, look, we've got great youth in the team, but are these players ready to break into the first team? I've got no idea. It's going to take a lot this first season to do well. I won't lie, I can kind of see why Valencia are so low on the table right now. I would still expect them to be much higher, but bottom half of the table with this team is kind of expected. There's not a lot that we can do on our end because I don't think we'll be making any signings whatsoever in the first season. I do not really like to do that. I'd like to let it play out for the first season, especially considering that the transfer window is over in real life. So it does feel unfitting to make any transfers now. But we'll have to make a great tactic to fit around our best players, and hopefully we can manage that and go through this first season well. So I'll sim to the end of the first transfer window to show you our tactic that we're going to use going into our first season as Valencia manager. So as expected, 0 transfers made, so I'm willing to go straight into the tactic to show you guys how we're going to be lining up for this first season. We have basically just gone very plain with this formation. It's a simple 4-3-3. We didn't want to go too out there as I don't think we have the players that are talented enough to go all out. I wanted to focus on our fullbacks as I believe they are our strongest point within the team. Jose Gaya and Rendell Correa, someone who I've purchased before quite a decent amount within this game. Them two are both very class fullbacks, and I would love to build around them mainly. Of course, Marmadashvili and Go, another player to build around, but he is a goalkeeper, so it's not too difficult to fit him into his position. Honestly, I think it could work. We've got a very unknown front three in my opinion. I don't know any of these players. But I am willing to give them all tries. Of course, some youth there with Diego Lopez, 24-year-old Hugo Duro, and I have no idea who that is, but he's 30 and he's starting for some reason. Honestly, we're doing very well so far, and I don't understand how. I don't understand how. I really don't. I don't think we will keep it up, because with a bit of a weakened attack, you can't expect to score goals week in, week out, and I really don't. I think we will be better at defending off the goals, because I think we've got actually quite a strong defense, a backline that can be pretty decent, and hopefully we're not broken down too easily. But I'd like to go into some of the matches that we have played. 3 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses, which is an amazing record for the start of a season. At home to Mallorca, we did draw 2-2. I would have expected a win there, but our wins kind of make up for it. Starting off with a 3-2 win at home to Villarreal. Wow, I keep getting the two mixed up. I'm calling Villarreal Valencia and Valencia Villarreal. Never mind, a 3-2 win at home to Villarreal, a 1-0 win away to Atletico Madrid, and a 4-0 win away to Athletic Bilbao. So, honestly, I'm ready for this season. It could actually be decent. There's a small chance that this is a decent season. I hope it is. I really, really do want to start pushing for that Champions League position straight away, straight off the bat, as it does make the entire rebuild easier to focus on later on seasons. But I think for now we are ready to go in with this tactic until the end of the season. There are no players that I think I will be locking in, as like I said, all of the best players that we do have are kind of already locked into position. Our 2 fullbacks and goalkeeper are the only players I would like to be playing every game, and they are already the best players in their position, so they will be playing, and I'm excited to show you guys how we do by the end of the season. So I'll be simming there, and hopefully I can come back to you with some good news. Right, so we're here at the end of the season, and honestly, player stats are very, very disappointing. Not that I wasn't expecting this, but I could have hoped for a lot more. For a good season, you'd expect a lot more, so I'm gonna guess that this season has been quite below what I was hoping for at the end of the transfer window. Second place is where we did leave off the team, and I'm sure we're very far from second here. Our starting striker, Hugo Duro, started 35 games in the league, only scored 15 in that competition, but 17 goals in total with a 6.77 average rating. It's safe to say I really hope he won't be starting next season. I honestly really hope we can sign someone. Highest average rating goes to Mukhtar Diakhaby. Honestly, I can't say he's someone that I was too familiar with before this save, but he looks like he could be a very, very solid centre back. I hope we don't lose him, because there is a fair share of interest from I would guess, yep, Saudi Arabia. Jose Gaya and Enzo Barrenechea. Wow, Barrenechea, of course, on loan from Aston Villa, both tied for highest assist, 8 and 8. I'm not excited for competitions. Let's just look straight at it, because I'm getting worried now. What? I don't understand what's going on. How did we finish 4th with player stats like this? We must have scumbagged it somehow. We must have. Oh wow. No, I don't see how we've done this. I mean, taking a look at just results, only La Liga, we haven't won too many games, and we've lost a decent amount. I mean, 5-1, 4-1, and a 2-1 loss just there to Real Madrid and Barcelona. A couple pointless draws, both against Vigo. A lot of big losses. Girona, 4-0 at home. 3-0 against Alaves, 3-0 against Getafe. That is the least deserved Champions League of my entire life. But you know what? We're taking it either way. We're going into the Champions League next season. We are not ready for it whatsoever, so we very well could crash out of it, and it won't look good, especially with a transfer budget like this. Yep, £6 million. Of course, there is a bit more in the wage budget, so we will be able to shift over a small amount, but £6 million is what we have to play around with. And of course, a goalkeeper to replace, and many players who were on loan this season that will be leaving. 4 players on the bench, of course, not including the goalkeeper. So 5 loan players that will be leaving us that we need to replace with £6 million. The maths is not mathing here. I'm sorry, I don't know how we're gonna do it. I really don't know how we're going to do it, but we have to find some sort of way. Free transfers might have to be the way. We might need to loan some players in. We'll have to see how this next season goes, because it's not looking like it's going to be a very exciting season, especially considering Champions League football, and we're going to have to be making such major changes to our team. Not looking good, but I'm excited to go to the end of the next transfer window to see maybe if we can bring in some decent players to get ourselves ready for Champions League football. So we've made one single sell village transfer window, and it's a decently big one. Andre Almeida has left us to join Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia for £15 million. He played quite a few games for us last season, and I did see some interest in him, so I got rid of him as soon as I possibly could. 15 million is great money to get in, as it does provide some money for signings. And that's when our signings come through. But first off, a loan. We've loaned in Ryan Gravenberch from Liverpool. We needed to look at cheaper options, and he was my cheaper option here. Ryan Gravenberch has joined us on a loan for the season. And our second and final signing, Tammy Abraham. He has joined us from AC Milan for 12.5 million. Sorry, from Roma for 12.5 million. His last club was AC Milan, of course, on that loan. He hasn't had too great of a season last season. He did very averagely, I will say, but he wasn't given too great a chance to play. We need someone who's going to finish his chances, someone who's a tall, big presence, and I think he can be that player for sure. And that leads us to our lineup looking like this for this season. So we're going to be rocking a 4-2-3-1 with 2 advanced playmakers, of course, 1 in the centre mid and 1 as an attacking midfielder. In possession, I'm going to guess that the left centre mid would go forward and act as a potential second attacking midfielder, with the box-to-box also going up if it feels safe to do so. If not, he will be dropping back. Of course, that is the role of box-to-box, going in between both the sides of the pitch and being wherever he is needed. Both wing-backs, again, are going to be very important, hopefully, within this system, as they are both very brilliant. And instead of signing a new goalkeeper, we've decided to give, oh wow, just give me a sec, Dimitrievski, great. We've decided to give Dimitrievski a chance. He was our backup goalkeeper for last season, played 2 games total, but I looked at his attributes and I saw he actually has something decent to him. I mean, he's got great aerial abilities, command of box is great, communication's great. He is a bit eccentric, which it's not always the best thing. It means he is a tiny bit reckless, I would say, but the decent enough handling, reflexes are there. I think it's fair to give him his shot for this season ahead. It's not the greatest time, of course, with Champions League football to give the backup goalkeeper a shot at first team football, but it's just what we do have to do. Taking a look at how we've done so far, though, it hasn't been as good as last season. For a start, I will have to say, a loss, a draw, and 2 wins, and even those not as good, not as big of results as last season. A 2-1 loss away to Granada, who have actually had a decent enough start, to be honest. 9th place is a bit higher than I would have expected for them. Then a draw, Vallecano at home. They are 4th, so they've had a great start, to be honest. And 2 wins, Almeria, I don't know how to say that, and Mallorca. We've beat them both. Honestly, not the greatest of starts. Not the greatest of starts whatsoever, but we need to go through this period of replacing some of the team now, because if we don't, then we're going to struggle later on in the rebuild. Honestly, it's not going to be a fun experience, I have to say. It's not going to be a fun experience this season, because I'm sure it won't go as good as I'm hoping, but we really do need to give it a shot. So I'm ready to sim to the end of this season to show you guys the results, and hopefully I can come back to you with I would like to retain top 4, but I don't see that happening. So hopefully I can come back to you with at least a Europa League spot at the end of this season. I'll see you there. Here at the end of season 2, player stats do look actually a lot better in my opinion. Top goal scorer goes to Tammy Abraham, 21 goals. Now this obviously is very similar to the 17 last season for our striker, but again we have to consider the fact that it's Tammy Abraham's first ever season in the Spanish league. It's very difficult to settle into a new league, especially one that it's a bit more pressing demanding than any other league that he has played in. I don't think that the Premier League is it's not as pressing important as the Spanish league. It is all about fast football in Spain, and that is something that he will have to adapt to for sure. But I know he does have that pace in him. He's got a tiny lack of stamina, I will say, so that doesn't make him the greatest person for this lineup, but I'm sure after another season in the league he will be much better. Of course, if we can also play him as a pressing forward, I think we would need another striker for that, but I feel like he would be even better. Highest average rating goes to Javi Guerra. He has 7 goals and 11 assists with a 7.07 average rating. I think he's had a good season, to be fair. He looks pretty average on his stats. Not someone that I have looked too much into yet, but his attributes do look quite decent. I think that's someone that we might need to look to make sure he does get his time in the first team, because I'm sure he will be a very big help. Most assists goes to Luis Rioja, who I don't know if he's had starting game time, but still 13 assists is quite decent. So competitions I think we are ready to look at. I'm not convinced on top 4. So okay, 5th place. Now that actually could mean Champions League again. Depending on coefficients, we could actually still make it into the Champions League. It is only the 1st of June here, so I don't believe coefficients have been decided. It could still come through. We don't know. I think I would rather be in Europa League for a season though. It does help a bit more with the rebuild. As you can see here, we went out very low in the league phase of the Champions League. 2 wins and 2 actual decent wins, but a Europa League, if we were in the Europa League, I think we could have at least made it into the playoffs here and hopefully made it through. I mean, Champions League is a very big ask for a lot of these players, and a lot of these players haven't had the experience within the Champions League yet. So, you know what? I can't complain about the season. For this season though, we've got a much bigger transfer budget. Wow, £81 million. Now it's time to go all out and sign some big boy players, because we need to replace we need to start making some replacements. Dimitrievski, if I'm saying his name correct, he kind of does have to go now. Not go, but he might need to sit back on the bench and enjoy his time as a backup, because I think there are a lot of better options out there. Perhaps another midfielder could be used. I would like a winger, maybe, or perhaps a second striker to start. I mean, it really just depends on who's available and also who does leave us, because we do have a couple players with interest in them, I believe, and also a couple players unhappy at the squad. So there are a couple things that we can do. We could change the tactic for sure, which I could see us doing. Again, depends on our signings. I could see us changing the tactic a bit, but there are a couple things we can be doing, couple transfers we could make, couple tactics we could change to ahead of our next season, in which we are going to be playing in Europe again, either Europa League or Champions League, and hopefully challenging for the Champions League in the league once again. So I hope you guys are ready, because we are on our way to the end of the next transfer window, the 3rd transfer window I believe, to show you guys the tactic, any signings that we have made, any sells we made, and prepare ourselves for the rest of that season. So we started off the transfer window with a big signing in. Mark Gahey has joined us from Crystal Palace. Now with this signing, honestly, he's available on a free almost every save you do in 2025. However, it is just a 50-50 chance if he does go to you or if he chooses to go elsewhere. This time around, he didn't have much other options. He had a couple other mid-table teams in the Premier League. I think Chelsea was also interested in him, but he in the end chose to go to Valencia. So bringing him in on a free transfer is absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to have in Mark Gahey. Another free signing that we did make is Zeki Celik or Celik, if you, however you say that. We brought him on a free transfer from Roma. Now I do know from my Roma rebuild that he has some decent potential in him to be a very decent player. So I brought him in to be that backup on the right hand side. He can also play on the left. He obviously has a pretty strong left foot also. Can play a centre back if you do need him to. So he's a very good player to have as cover. And the final free signing that we have made is Pascal Gross. Now I don't know if this one will work out. We might have to pull a Tony Kroos with him. I will be honest, but he had a great season in Germany last season, so I really can see the talent in him. He's got a decent amount of stamina still in him, 17 natural fitness, which means it kind of does reduce any risk of you know him getting injured or something, or you know losing a lot of his attributes fast, which is always a possibility at the age of 35 years old. But I really can hope that he does, you know, he has a good season with us and maybe does move on after this one season. And now we've signed our brand new goalkeeper. We've signed Marco Carnesecchi from Atalanta. He is probably the best bargain goalkeeper you can get within this game. 11.5 million for him, and just look at those attributes. He has done very, very well for Atalanta last season. 18 starts and a 7.05 average rating, which is very good considering, you know, he wasn't given the trust for the whole season. Maybe he was injured or something, I'm not too sure. I haven't been keeping up with that, but 18 starts, and in every single one of those he did look alright. So I decided to bring him in. The price was cheap. It's about time to get in a proper goalkeeper. And now with this signing, I am very, very happy because Mathis Lombardi has joined us from Napoli for £12 million. Now he hasn't played too much for Napoli, I will be honest. Only 2 games in his professional career. That is his entire professional career within the game, of course. 2 games only, both off the bench, and he never really had too much of a chance to perform. He will be brought in for us just as kind of cover for this current season. We don't know if he will be brought in anytime soon, but he's looked amazing in all of the games that he has appeared in. Obviously 1 start and 3 off the bench, and a 7.22 average rating with 2 goals. He looks like he is a very great player for this league, which of course, like I said, is very fast paced. He looks like he's fitting in well. Of course, he's got brilliant finishing, first touch and dribbling attributes. He could be a very good right winger or even a striker if that is where we choose to play him in the long run. But speaking of strikers, we've gone big to sign Samu Omarodion, £45 million to bring him back to the La Liga. And I'm excited to have him back because, of course, he has history in the league. He's done very well for Porto in his last season there. And I think he does look very, very dangerous as a striker. 45 million is an absolute bargain for him. Just look at some of those attributes. 17 pace, 15 stamina. The physicals are there without a shadow of a doubt. 15 finishing, 15 first touch, 14 dribbling, 14 technique, work rate off the ball. All amazing, and he's only 22 years of age. He can be a very, very great striker for us, and I'm so excited to have him in. Now, our final signing is a left winger. We've signed him in from Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia. It is Alan Velasco, former MLS player for FC Dallas. He moved over to Al Ettifaq for the little price of £5 million. Then he had 2 amazing seasons in Saudi Arabia with a 7.83 average rating all round and a 7.94 average rating in the league of Saudi Arabia last season. That shows pure talent to me, especially considering that Al Ettifaq is not a team anywhere near the top of that league there. So he had to play some very much bigger teams and still performed almost every single time. He looks brilliant, and I'm excited to have him in. Hopefully he can be that #1 left winger for us. But this is how we're looking to line up for our 3rd season in charge of Valencia. It's a 4-2-4 kind of, or a 4-2-2. It really just depends on how you look at it, but we do have 2 wingers, so I would call it a 4-2-4. I think this is a good lineup for this season. We look pretty well structured here. I think we've got great players to fit into this system. Of course, Tammy Abraham now as that pressing forward, I believe, is one of his best roles, so I would like to see him there, of course, partnered by Omarodion. Lambord on the bench as well to come in whenever he can. I honestly do think that this team can do pretty decently, but so far in the league, I will be honest, hasn't been the greatest. 4 games, and I'll be honest, a reasonable loss there away to Atletico Madrid. A 3-1 loss is reasonable. We beat them away before, but it's fine because, you know, you can't always expect to beat them. An away draw against Valladolid is one that I am upset about, though. We should be winning that. However, 2 wins at home against Sevilla and at home against Levante do kind of average it out for me. So we're in 6th place right now, but I do expect that to rise up throughout the season. We've got a lot of talent in the team, and I'm sure that will show through definitely. I'm excited to go through to the end of the season now. We've got a lot of more cover on the bench, more experience now of players like Pascal Gross able to come in whenever needed. Of course, we are in Europe this season in the Europa League, so not in the Champions League, but in the Europa League for this season. So that experience is absolutely vital. And also, you know, bringing in players to build up our back line like Mark Gahey and also Karnaseki are the big, it's the main thing, because building up from the back is a very, very big part of my football, and I'm so happy that we've actually been able to make those 2 signings, and for very, very cheap money. So all around, I'm very happy with the team, and I'm excited to go to the end of the season. So I'll be simming to the end of the season to show you our results and what trophies, or hopefully, you know, challenging for trophies at least, we've able to get done by the end. I'll see you there. So we're here, end of season 3, and player stats look so much more convincing now. 24 goals as our top goal scorer, and that goes to 2 different people sharing that title, Tammy Abraham and Samu Omorodion. Abraham with a brilliant season, 36 goal contributions in 41 games, 7.28 average rating. He looks brilliant so far. Wow, so far. He looks brilliant so far. A great season there, and honestly, I'm happy. He's finally settling into the league. I'm so happy with that. As well as Samu Omorodion, who had an even better season in terms of average rating, meaning he probably had more of a contribution towards the entire team. I mean, 35 starts, 24 goals, 7 assists, 31 contributions total, and a 7.43 average rating means he was amazing this season and absolutely destroyed the competition, which I am very happy with. Highest assist goes to Alan Velasco, our very expensive signing from Al Ettifaq. But you know, it seems to be worth it. 26 goal contributions is very good for him, especially in his first season in this league. I'm sure next season that will hopefully improve even higher. But competitions, where do I think we ended up? I would really hope for top 4, because our player stats are a lot better now. I would really hope for top 4. So let's check it out. How did we finish this season? Okay, that's a good season in my eyes. Europa League runners up as well as 4th place in the La Liga is a very good season. However, we'll take, okay, we'll take a look at the Europa League. I'm not even going to talk about that yet. League phase, we made it through in 7th place, meaning we went through automatically. We did not have to go for a playoff round. Round of 16s, though, we ended up playing against Real Sociedad. Now, we lost 2-1 in the first leg, and we came back to make it 7-3 on aggregate in the second leg. That's brilliant. Wow. That's something else. Quarterfinals, we played against Feyenoord. We beat them 5-3 on aggregate. Again, they beat us in the first leg. Oh no, sorry, we drew in the first leg, and then we came back to beat them 5-3. Semi-finals against Bologna, we beat them 3-0 on aggregate. Then we wanted to play the final against Man United and lost 8-2. 8 goals to 2. And I mean, just look at, wow, Rasmus Højlund, wow, 20 goals. I'm sorry, but no. And he never even scored in that final. That's the worst part. He scored 20 goals in this competition alone. None of them being in that final, which they scored 8 against us. So he could have been on about 25 goals in this competition. 8.12 average rating. Honestly, my hands are up. They deserved that a lot more than we did. Wow, 8-2. We got absolutely embarrassed on the biggest stage of them all. I really do apologize, because that does hurt. That hurts. But I mean, as far as places to improve go, our budget is looking pretty decent, 64 million. Places to improve, I mean, it really just depends, because right now I know Jose Gaya is getting a tiny bit older, but it might be, is it time to start looking to replace him? Also, our midfield is not the strongest and our right wing isn't either. So I'd say anywhere from left back to the midfield to a new right winger or even a centre back, because I can see that this partnership isn't working the greatest. I think we're not scared to spend that money. So if we do see the right option, then we will definitely go for it. But I think we're ready to sim to the end of the 4th transfer window, in which I'll be making some transfers, hopefully some sales, hopefully, and potentially even a tactic change to fit around the team to make sure that we are ready for Champions League football next season once again. We've started off with a big sale. The amount of money that we've received off this is absolutely incredible. £75 million for Christian Mosquera to go off to Al Hilal. £75 million for the Wonder Kid. Well, I guess former Wonder Kid. He is 23 now in the game, but of course he does start off as a Wonder Kid, so his potential is very high in the game. I'm not surprised, I wouldn't be surprised, sorry, if he does become a very big trouble in the near future. We have also sold Diego Lopez off to Sevilla. Of course, he spent his entire career in the Spanish league, and we've now sold him on. He's doing very well actually for them now. He had a very decent season for us last season, but it was about time to go for someone a bit better. So we started off our signings by bringing in Jan-Paul van Hecke from Brighton. Someone who I know for a fact is very good in the game. He played very well last season, especially for Brighton. I'm not sure what system they were playing, but he definitely got the most out of it. Just take a look at those mental attributes, because wow, they are amazing. I mean, he looks like a very good centre back. He's great with ball playing as well. 14 passing, 13 vision. Of course, great technique as well. Heading is there. He is going to be a top centre back hopefully, and he's already started off very well, so I'm happy to have him in. We've also brought in Boubacar Kamara from Aston Villa, another player who did quite well last season in the Premier League. £45 million for the player. Now he's very, I think he's good for this reason. He is very versatile when it comes to playing his positions. He can play defensive midfield, centre mid, and centre back. That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted someone who can fit in that centre back role as well as the defensive midfield role and the centre midfield. We need a strong midfield right now because our midfield isn't the strongest. We need someone to fit into there and take that position to be his, and I believe that can be Boubacar Kamara's position. Our final signing, I believe, goes to Amad Diallo. We've signed him from Manchester United for £18 million. Now, he never really got game time for Manchester United, but they had loaned him off to Everton, and I'm so thankful that they did because they really unleashed his true potential with a 7.16 average rating over there for Everton. We decided to bring him in, and as I thought that 18 million was really and truly a bargain for someone so talented. I mean, his physical attributes are there, his technical attributes are there. I think he's going to be a very important winger, and he's great for fast-paced football. I reckon this is going to be a great signing. So taking a look at the tactic, this is kind of how I do plan to be running it for this season. Same exact tactic, I believe, unless I have accidentally forgotten some of the changes that I have made. Of course, with Diallo now fitting in on the right wing, Van Hecke now at right centre back, and Kamara as the ball-winning midfielder in centre mid. I think this team can all round be a top team, and looking at the league table, I think the world agrees with me. 4 games, 4 wins, and some big ones there with a 5-1 win, a 2-0 win, a 3-1 win, and a 4-3 win. High scoring games, and I think, you know, it's about right. It's about right because look at our attack. I mean, Omarodion, Abraham, Velasco, and Diallo all contributing to the attack. I'm not surprised that we have had such high scoring games. Now, of course, our next game is Real Madrid, which we won't be looking at right now. We'll be looking at the end of the season, probably. But an amazing start, so I could not care less about Real Madrid. I want us to push for that league title now. I want us to start challenging hard. I want us to get within that top 3 first, that top 2, and then go hard for that league because we've got some big competition here. We've got Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid, all, you know, with every single fan in the world expecting them to win over us, as I'm sure the season preview will show it has. All of them have higher odds to win than we do, so we need to beat those odds and win it once again. I think we're ready to sim to the end of this season. I hope you guys are too. Let's go. So we've reached the end of our penultimate season and player stats are not an issue whatsoever. Samu Omarodion has destroyed the competition once again. 39 starts and 40 goals. Let alone those extra 6 assists, meaning he has over 1 goal contribution average out a game. I mean, what a player he is. I'm so surprised that there's no interest in him from Saudi Arabia, but I think it's just because that value is a bit too high for them to pay. I don't think they're willing to be honest. A 7.61 average rating, is incredible. I could not have ever expected that in the slightest. What a player he is that he's been in his time at the club. I mean, wow. Jose Gaya as our highest on the assist charts for this season once again. I mean, he might have proved me wrong. We might have to keep him. I'll be honest, the stamina is still high and he's still doing well. 21 assists at the age of 33 years old is quite a tough, it's a very good season, I will be honest. We might need to sign him on a year extension or something like that, as at the end of next season, oh actually no, we are kind of done with the rebuild next season, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, we might need to look to keep him in for that final season. We'll have to wait and see. All round great on player stats, so I think we're ready to look at competitions. I'm a tiny bit worried too, because I'm worried that our player stats are, you know, they're not going to match up to our results, but I think we're ready. Let's do this. It's not awful, it's not horrible. 89 points in the league is actually very, very good. I think that could potentially be a record of some sort for Valencia. I'm not sure if they ever have had 89 points or more, but it is still an amazing result. Omarodion tied on highest goals for this season, also tied for highest average rating, so he's had a very similar season to Kylian Mbappe, which in itself is a very, very strange sentence to say. Highest assist goes to all 3 of our players. I mean, it's almost a little bit undeserved from Real Madrid and Barcelona to be ahead of us, but it's okay because we did not take our chances in certain games, which is why we did end up losing them. I mean, a couple losses on here which I would have expected us to turn into wins, so that just shows the difference from a team which is on Barcelona and Real Madrid level compared to a team that is on Valencia level. So there is still some work to be done. Champions League though, it's embarrassing now, I'm sorry, but 8 games and we only won 2 of them in the Champions League, and those games against Genk and Arsenal, to be honest. So Arsenal's not too bad of a game to win, but the fact that we lost the rest of them, including Royal Antwerp, Olympiacos, Leverkusen and RB Leipzig, it's not the greatest. We lost to Atletico Madrid at home as well, the same team that we've been playing at home for how long? I mean, it's a horrible league phase from us in this 4th season, but I really do hope that for next season we are ready to push a little bit further, as that kind of would be the main goal for us. I don't know, yeah, like I said, they've made it 2 consecutive Champions League finals, but I don't know if they have actually won the Champions League before. I'm sure there is a way to check, but I mean, honestly, it's not too horrible of a season from us. I'm happy with the season. Yeah, no Champions Leagues in the history, so Champions League would be a very, very big goal for us. I honestly think if we make the right signings for next season, we can challenge for that. So I'll be simming to the end of the final transfer window of this rebuild, and I think if we make our signings right, as I've said already, we can go on to challenge. So I'll see you there. So we made one single bit of business for this final season, and that is bringing in Christian Romero from Tottenham Hotspur. Now, honestly, taking a look at his attributes, I think he might be the best centre-back in the world in this game, and he is stuck at a bit of a horrible club, I won't lie to you there. But, of course, Spanish-speaking with his Argentinian, I was about to say roots, but he is, with his Argentinian nationality, Spanish speaking, I think he was ready to come into the Spanish league and destroy the rest of the competition. That aggression, it just reminds people of, you know, a prime Sergio Ramos, doesn't it? So that was the only bit of business that we had, but taking a look at the tactic, and I honestly don't ask, do not ask me, because I'm not explaining anything to anyone. This is what we're going for. It says here that it's a 5-2-3. I don't know if I can call it that, but it is some sort of a 5-2-3, I guess. This is kind of how it looks to line up when I do sort by the best 11. Of course, instead of having Guerra there, I would like Amad Diallo on the right hand side, as the two shadow strikers will be moving wide as it has with their instructions. Run wide with the ball. Of course, Tammy Abraham as the deep line forward, he will be the one every bit of play runs through, almost like how, you know, a shadow striker or an attacking midfielder in general, all the play would run through him. I think Tammy Abraham is the player to run play through. He's got the passing ability to let the ball off to either the strikers or wide to these wingers. Both of our fullbacks are going to be on wing back defend, which I believe is what is kind of the roles that they do prefer, especially Jose Gaia. He does prefer the defensive role, I believe. Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe I'm just lying to your faces. Especially with him getting a bit older, I feel like that is probably the best option. Listen, I don't know if this is going to work, but drastic times call for drastic measures. We needed to go for something crazy if we do want to go for that Champions League this season. The league doesn't agree with us though. Not in the slightest. But the matches that we did draw to, or draw in, sorry, at least one of them, that away draw against Barcelona, that shows me that this could work. It shows me that it could. We would have lost that game any other day, any other month, any other save, anything. We would have lost that game. So I honestly think this could be the right tactic to take us forward. We've got 3 strong centre backs, 2 strong wing backs, and a strong attack consisting of 5 very, very important players. So this is how we're going to lock it in. Of course, we will be locking Amad Diallo into position, as he is one that keeps getting moved out of, and I do think he is one of our best players in the team for sure. And I will be running it like this for the rest of this final season of the rebuild. So I'm ready to sim to the end of the rebuild to show you guys what we have managed to bring home, and hopefully, just hopefully, I can bring home either a league title, a Champions League, or something along those lines. That would be the dream, and I'll see you there. So we're here, end of the final season. It's been a great rebuild, and I'm sad to see it be towards the end now. Samuel Omorodion, top goal scorer once again, 32 goals, 12 assists, and a 7.44 average rating. 44 goal contributions in 51 games is still a world-class season, and I'm so proud of us bringing him in. I'm not proud of him, I'm proud of myself for bringing him in for that £45 million, as that value has almost tripled for him. So I'm so happy to have him in. Amad Diallo, another one. I mean, people wonder why I'm such a great manager. It's because I know my players. I locked him into position, and now look at how he did. 16 goals and 20 assists, 36 goal contributions in 46 games, 18 million we spent on him. Now he's worth up to 95. I mean, I'm just the greatest manager on the planet. No one can say anything to me. But he has definitely worked in that shadow striker role, and I'm so happy about it. So I'm very grateful that he's performed well. It's time to look at competitions though, because player stats can say one thing, but competitions is all that matters. What we have won is the only thing that matters. I could not care less how they've played. They could play horrible, but if we won the Champions League, I will be happy. So it's time to see if we have won the Champions League. And let's go. Okay, that is a great season. We have finally won the La Liga with Valencia. Unfortunately though, we only managed to make runners-up of the Champions League, but I could not care any less. 92 points in La Liga to make it through and finally win it over both the Barcelonas and Real Madrids of the world. The last time this was done was back in 2020-21 season with Atletico Madrid. I mean, wow, that is a great result, and I'm so happy with that. I mean, Real Madrid are a force that I didn't see us stopping at all within this rebuild. So the fact that we have managed to, I am so happy with. I mean, yeah, just take a look at the losses that they had. 5. We lost more games than them, but we were lucky that we did not draw more. We've won the most out of anyone in this league. 30 wins is very big, and 92 points to go and win it is even bigger. Champions League though, we managed to make it all the way to the finals. League phase, we made it through on playoffs, which is weird in itself. Made it against Frankfurt, and wow, we almost did get knocked out. I will be honest there. We almost did get knocked out. 3-3 in the first leg, and then we made it we won 3-2 in the second leg, making it 6-5. Round of 16, we played Man City, beat them 6-4 on aggregate. Quarterfinals played against Lyon, 5-3 on aggregate altogether. Valencia, 4-3 win on aggregate. On aggregate. I mean, we had a very good run, but we went up in the finals against PSG, and they were just a bit too difficult to face. I mean, they have a brilliant team, so I cannot complain in the slightest. I mean, wow. I can't complain in the slightest. Very, very good from them, and great from us to make it to there ourselves. We also did win the Supercopa de España. That's something that I didn't realize, but it makes it a double for this season, and I believe our only trophies that we have won, if I'm correct. I apologize if I'm not, but honestly, I think this has been a great rebuild. I mean, we created some very great and crazy tactics, to be honest. This one is probably the weirdest tactic I've ever created in Football Manager, but I'm so happy that it worked. This is getting saved, and I'm definitely using this again. Honestly, what a season it's been. We won some stuff, and I'm so happy with that. We finally brought home league success to Valencia. We've established ourselves and runners up again in the Champions League, which is a bit of a shame, but we've managed to do it. So all around, I class this a huge success. So that marks the end of a very successful rebuild. We took Valencia back to the positions that they were before. We won a title, we won many more trophies, we made crazy tactics, and we even made it to the final of a Champions League. It was unfortunate that we couldn't win, but it was so great to get there. So if you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, please leave a gigantic like on the video as it goes so far. Do subscribe and hit the notification bell to know the next time that I do post. And also, I'd like to ask you guys to rate my rebuilds from a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments. I wonder if you think this rebuild has some improvement, or 10 if you think yes, this is a great rebuild and I'm excited for the next one. Hope you guys have a great day after watching this, and I'll catch you on my next one.